Hello everyone to Tech Safari and welcome to the Coding Safari Swift for an iOS 12. And in this video we're going to see about how to build a layout or the storyboard. So first off, let's open our default project in Xcode. Yeah. But for this video I'm going to create a new project. It's going to be the same old single view app. Mm, I'm going to give it a name of Eco Calculator. Yeah. Let's just leave the remaining settings as default. And I'm going to save it on my desktop. So in this video we're going to build a storyboard, so let's open the storyboard once the app has finished building. Now, yeah. It's going to take some time for the storyboard to load up. And yeah, here I have my storyboard. It's presently blank, so I'm just going to hide that left side navigation panel. We'll just get to know what are present in this particular view. So in this we have a view controller scene which contains all the objects such as the view controller and the constraints, etc. So presently we only have the view controller, nothing much. This is the safe area, and that is where we're going to design everything. Above we have the notification symbols and Wi-Fi symbols remaining, so we don't want this to overlap with those symbols, our app. So we would want to do design our layout, anything in the safe area only. So we'll just click on that circle button, and that would give us the various UI elements that we could use. Now let's get to know about each one of them. We have a bunch to select from. In this particular, uh, first let's go with the basic. If I wanted to add an other view, a view is something like a slide in PowerPoint. I could just add one by just dragging in a view controller from the objects list onto the storyboard, in a similar fashion. We'll get to know about how to add view controllers and link them up later. Now let's just see how to add a label. So a label is nothing but a basic placeholder or UI element which is going to display some text. So let's see what all attributes we can specify to this particular label. First, what we're going to do is I'm just going to zoom into this view by using the command plus, and we could also use command minus to reduce the size. I'm going to set its text by just double clicking on the text and set it to Eco Calculator. I could position it anywhere on the view. I'm going to position it center and horizontal. Yeah. Or I could even center it vertically and horizontally in the center. Or I could even position it vertically in the center. Here mainly I'm interested in horizontal in center. Now let's define some attributes for that. So let's just click on that button which looks like something like a shield, as that's the attributes inspector, the one over there. So let's click on it, and that's going to bring up a lot of options that we can carry out on this label. We could set it to be an attributed style or normal. We could set it text from here as well. similarly. Just going to set it to echo calculator, and we could even choose the color for the text. I think somewhat green would look nice. Yeah, that color green. And we can also change the font settings as we would do in any other application. I'll just set a custom font for that. Say a good one might be. Let's look for one good one. I think it's Chalk Duster. I think. No, it's not Chalk Duster. I think it's Chalkboard. Yeah, Chalkboard SC. Yeah, that's looking good. Now let's increase the size. And again, now we need to drag and make our text view a little bit big. And again, place it center in horizontal. Yeah, that look better. So you could just change the size of this UI element by using the given uh, uh, draggers, or whatever you call them. We could also set the alignment for this text. Suppose I want it to be aligned in to the left, center, right, or justified. I could set it here. I'll go for center. I could also set how many lines of text that I would require here. So let's give it some, say, some random text, and we could just click on the Alt Enter, and that would take us to the next line. Yeah, like here, if you just drag this down, you would get many lines of code. Yeah, let me just fix my grammatical mistakes, and let's just drag it to until the screen corners. Just click on the Alt Enter button, and that would shift it to the next line. Yeah, as you can see here, we have it. And now suppose if I wanted to make this text smaller and the other one greater, I could just set it to be attributed, and now I can change the different attributes for that. I could keep this, I could change this one size, leaving the above one the same size as above. I could also change the colors for this, and etc. We could do many operations with that. Yeah, oops, yeah. So in a similar way, we could set the number of lines. So presently I just require 2 lines of code. Yeah, and I'm going to remove the dot. So next we have the alignments for this text holder. You can just play around with these. Yeah, you can also specify the line break. You could give it character break, word break, etc., or word wrap. I'll just go for the default one. Next, you could also set various other options, or shadow, or and you could highlight it also. Say I want to highlight it with that color, and it would just give us a slight highlight. I could also set shadow to it. Yeah, as you can see now we have a bit of shadow. So you could specify at how much width do you want that to appear, and at how much height do you want that to appear. I'll just go for -1, -1. Yeah, that's looking good. You could just play around with these options and just select one which you think that you like. I'm just gonna set a dark variant of this color, and yeah, it's looking very good. Now I could also set shadows width again. Yeah, I'm just gonna change it again. mm, I'll just set it to -1. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Now we could also set how do we want the aspect. Most probably for a text label, it's not preferred and it's not required as well. That will be required when we go for image. Now the main thing is tags. Suppose if we had many labels and you wanted to check, okay, which label did the user press, and you wanted to perform a specific function for that particular label, then we could check if the button label pressed has this particular tag. So usually we start tags with 0, as we're going to know why starting tags with 0 is very important in the coming up videos. Just now, get this, that we need to start tagging with 0. uh, those options are not required, but yeah, you could just play around with them. And alpha is nothing but how transparent or how much opaque the label is. We could set it to from 0 to 1. 0 would be invisible, 1 would be visible. Yeah, we could also set a background color for this text. Yeah, maybe something like that, but we could just go for any one of that color. And yeah, I'm not going to go for any background here, it doesn't look good. You could also change the settings. All that, you can just play around with this so that you'll get a familiar idea. So that's pretty basically much about labels. Next we'll get to know about buttons. So let's okay, before that we'll just drag in one more level. That's where we're going to display all the answer of the calculator that we would require. Just make it this much, and let's set its attributes. So yeah, now that we have our text view ready, now let's get to know about buttons. So first we'll drag in a button somewhere there. Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's a good place. As the default color was already green, it all just generated a green button, but usually it's just going to generate a blue button. So here the attributes for button are almost similar to the one of label, so you can just play around with them. Here you could just set the various state attributes when it was highlighted, or when the mouse is hovered over this button, something like that. Yeah, could just play around with these options. And remaining all settings are almost, as I said, like labels, so just play around with them. So yeah, I just designed my button. You could also set an image as to be the button's text, and yeah, just play around with the other options and you get to know them very easily. Most of them are just like labels. Yeah. Um, so now that we have designed a button, now let's see what is a text field. So that is just similar something to like a label, whereas we could either set it a default value or default text that it has to display, but the user can also add text to it during runtime, and we could get what text did the user enter. An example of a place where we use text field would be some where we ask the user to enter his username, so he could enter it in this text field and we could get the value of this text field. So now let's see what are all the um, attributes that we could specify to this text view. Most of the attributes are almost same like the button and the label. So let's just go through them quickly, and then we'll get to know the specific attributes for a text field. So here placeholder text is like something like a hint that is displayed to the user. Say, you could say please enter your username, or please enter your password, or something like that. You could just give a basic hint to the user about what he has to enter in that particular text view, or here text field. Yeah. So presently it's not appearing, but when you run this app on a simulator, it's going to display that. Yeah. We could also set a background image to be its background, and we have many other options. We could also set a number of lines that the user could be entering. and here it comes where the text input trails. So we could specify which kind of keyboard we wanted. Here you could specify if you wanted the name keyboard or a number keyboard, or depending on what kind of data do you want to receive. So this is going to add some symbols related to that. Suppose if you go for URL, it's going to add www. If you go for a location, it could say pin code or something like that. So that's about this text input trails. You just play around with them, and just as you can see, most of the functions and most of these attributes are literal. You just understand them by just reading what's written beside it. Just stop spell check, and here we could specify what kind of keyboard type we want. We could go for URL keyboard, a number pad keyboard, a phone keyboard. So in case of a phone keyboard, it would say it could add the country code or something like that. If you go for the URL or the website one, it would give the .com, www dot, and some suggestions like that it would give. In an email address, it would give at the rate, something like that. So that's about the keyboard type. We could also control the alignment of the text which the user is going to enter. Could give it center horizontal or something like that. Yeah. We'll just go for that center horizontal setting. We could set the content type, that is much not required. So yeah, those are the various attributes for most probably for text field. We have many other UI elements, but most of them are not much required. Next, we're going to see about how we are going to use an image view, as it is literal. It's going to allow us to put an image into an app or on our screen. So let me just see where I'm gonna place my image view here. Yeah, that looks like a good place. So here first I need to import an image into my project. I could just do it by just selecting an image. I have few images here. I'm just gonna drag in an image and just place it there, and I'm just gonna close that and just take this copy items if needed check box. Yeah, check box or something here, and it would automatically import that image for me, and I could just refer to that here in this image view. Oh, it's not appearing. Okay, let's just type it. Channel icon, I think that's what I call it, .png. Yeah. So here we have our image. So as you can see, it has stretched the image presently. We're going to see how to fix that in a few minutes. So highlight, you could set an other image to that. Suppose if this did not work out. Now here, this is the more important thing, content mode. So here, as I said, it stretched out the image because that was the size of the placeholder. So you could change. Here we have many options. You could set it to aspect fit. It would just aspect fit it, or you could aspect fill it. Aspect fit would just fit the image in that particular placeholder in the same ratio as it was there previously. That's the most appropriate one, and that's mostly we're going to use. You could either center the image. You could just grab the top of the image, the left of the image, bottom of the image, top left of the image, bottom right of the image. We have many options that you could go for. So yeah, that's about the various settings about content mode. You could also read write, which I'm not going to encourage. So we'll go for the aspect fit, and just leave the settings. And as I said, tag, if you had many images and you want to check on which image did the user press, then you could go for a tag, and then you could perform a similar function on all of those without rewriting in the code. That would make our code much efficient, and our app size would be much less. So yeah, that would be on how we could design the image view. We could also set its transparency or alpha value. Yeah, I think 0.8 would be good, or 0.75. It's your wish. Yeah, those are basically the settings that's mostly used. Now, you could just play around with all of these options. The main thing how we learn all of this is just by playing. So keep playing around with all these UI elements. In the next video, we're going to see how to make a app, that is this eco calculator app. Till then, bye bye, see you in the next video.